West Ham are ditching the director of football position altogether at West Ham. This has got short, medium and long-term implications for the club. This is not hearsay. This is not speculation. I've heard it myself from the club today. This is just what's happening. This is what's happening going forward. This is how we're planning for the next window and probably for some time thereafter. Basically, not once bitten, twice shy. Twice bitten, thrice shy. We'll explain why in a second. Just before I do, can I please point in the direction of Hammers Chat's Patreon page? Basically, Patreon's the best way that you guys can support Hammers Chat. We rely on everything. We rely on you guys watching the adverts. We rely on our fantastic sponsors like ETC Sports and Match Bingo, who I'll talk about in a little while. But we massively rely on our patronage as well. And without it, we probably couldn't carry on. Well, there's no probably about it. We wouldn't be able to carry on doing videos every day on this channel, on the main Hammers Chat channel. So I'd ask you to give it a whirl. It's £3.60 a month on its lowest tier. There's 3 different tiers. You can try it on a free trial if you want. The link's in the description below. It's patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Or you just put Hammers Chat Patreon into Google. You'll find it there. We'd really appreciate it. We're struggling a bit at the moment, truth be known, so we'd very much appreciate that. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it, really. Go and check it out. We've got loads of extra videos and loads of extra content on there and loads of reasons to do it. But we'd very much appreciate it. Right, back onto the director of football stuff. So it's being ditched. We're not doing it. When I said once bitten, twice shy, or sorry, I say twice bitten, thrice shy, it's because the thing with Husilos didn't work out. We had Husilos once, it didn't work out. He was our director of football. Got a director of football given Tim Steidten, that didn't work out. And reading between the lines, the club think it's more trouble than it's worth. They've experienced it. They've tried it twice, don't they? And they're thinking those pesky, bloody directors of football, they're just trouble. They're not very good. That's the perception, and for that reason, they're not going to carry on. I think you've got to separate the two men. Husilos was appointed by Pellegrini. That means the manager was his boss. That's not good. The higher position should be the director of football. For pure and simple reason is if you're a director of football, then you pick the coach. And the reason you do that is because you're picking the players, you're identifying talent, you're going to bring in players who suit a certain style. It just means if you also get to pick the manager, then you're not throwing that out every time you appoint a new manager or new head coach. You're not having to renew the whole playing staff. If what you've got is somebody that favours keeping the ball on the deck and wing backs, then your next coach, even if that one don't work out, your next coach will like playing the ball on the deck and wing backs. That sort of thing in its most simplest form. I think where it went wrong with Tim Steidten is we never really fully committed to it. Well, that's one of the reasons I feel it went wrong. I think the club would say that there are other things went wrong. And the trouble is you're always going to be looking for a pantomime villain. It's very much the way, particularly in the modern day. But I think Tim Steidten got a lot right and I got a lot wrong. And I think it was certainly a hindrance that he wasn't able to... He wasn't able to get along with his head coaches. That's going to be a problem. You need to get on with people. You need to be a people person. If you're in any kind of management situation, you're having to manage people, it really helps if you can get on with them. So I think that's the first thing. But he was a very good identifier of talent. I do wonder if any of this stuff would happen if he was allowed to, in the summer, get his guy, whoever that might have been. And we've all heard the rumours who it might have been. But we didn't. Basically, we didn't allow the director of football to pick the head coach, and we got Julian Lopetegui instead. And it didn't really work out. And we had very much had a mishmash of who was buying players as well. I guess in the end he probably did have to go, didn't he? Because he'd fallen out with 2 consecutive head coaches, and let's be fair, Potter wasn't going to get on with him. He really stepped away with it almost immediately. Potter stepped away. He was asked directly in a press conference, how are you going to get on with Tim Steidten, because basically he'd been banned from Steidten had been banned from the dressing room by both David Moyes and Julian Lopetegui, and he very much didn't commit. He basically he changed the subject. That's what Potter did. He completely changed the subject. So I think Potter had already decided he wasn't going to do that. So there's almost no evidence of him getting on with any head coaches. Definite evidence that he didn't get on with 2, and a third one who didn't want to work with him. So that's an issue. But talent spotting, I think it was really good. I think the worst thing for West Ham, and this is why I say medium, short and long term, in the long term, this is really bad that we've been stung twice. I think if we'd have got it right, if we'd have hired that Paul Mitchell, for instance, from Monaco, I think he ended up at Liverpool, did he not? He was already an experienced director of football. He sort of knew what he was doing. We got Steidten in. He wasn't quite... Well, he'd never done it before, never done the job before. So we got him in from Leverkusen, never done the job before. And it was tough. I think the moment you start falling out with people, and then you had the debacle with the Ibrahim Osman where he was negotiating with the wrong agent. And actually, at one point, I believe, he might have even been a banned agent or something like that. Did the Danish FA get involved and basically point us in the right direction? Stuff like that didn't help. So he showed that he wasn't very good at it. And I just think in the end, Steidten suffered, but we suffered because we looked at this guy who probably wasn't suited for every part of the job rather than getting the finished article in Mitchell. And now because Steidten failed, says, right, but I'm not doing that again because they're trouble. That's what we're thinking. They're trouble. So what's going to happen now is that David Sullivan is going to do negotiations. That Macaulay, got to not call him McLaughlin, Kyle Macaulay, and of course Graham Potter are going to identify the players, and David Sullivan is going to do the negotiations. That's what's going to happen. That is it. In the short term, I think first of all you've got to accept. We haven't do what you want, but once you don't have to be happy about it. But once you've accepted, actually, we're not going to get a director of football. What do you want for the next window? Well, I'll tell you what I don't want to happen is what happened in the January window, and that was us getting third parties who completely failed to get either of the targets over the line and made ridiculous bids for targets. As I mentioned, I think the £45 million bid for John Duran, when Aston Villa had already turned down €70 million from Paris Saint-Germain, and basically everybody in the transfer community knew that he had this mega offer from Saudi on the table. I think it was stupid. I think it was also stupid, bearing in mind we'd already been told by his agent he didn't want to do business with West Ham anymore because we let him down the first transfer. So firstly, I think that went badly. There was a couple of others that didn't go badly, and I think the other thing is Ezekiel Banzuzi. I'm never confident at saying that name. If I've got it right, I'm pleased. You know what I mean. The young Dutch midfielder who's playing over in Belgium. Karren Brady did those negotiations. Well, they weren't any negotiations. She went in full apprentice mode and went in and said, "This is our first and our only offer." And they went, "Well, fine. If you're not going to negotiate, forget it." Whether it was the third parties or it was where it was Karren Brady, they were both an absolute disaster. I don't want that to happen again. So in this instance, I think for the immediate thing, it's better. In many respects, it's the best worst scenario, if that makes any sense. Before I go any further talking about that best worst scenario, can I please point in the direction of today's video sponsor, which is Match Bingo. What's Match Bingo? Well, Match Bingo is a combination of football and bingo. Rather than having numbers on your bingo card, it's not a real one, it's a virtual one. You get it on your phone. You get events happening in a football match, a goal kick, a throw-in, a shot on target, a shot off target. There's all these things. You tick. You don't have to tick it. The app ticks it for you. We've had over 200 winners on Hammers Chat. In fact, in the last one we had, one person won 2 different prizes, because in each game there's 4 prizes. So you get 15 things you need to happen, which are 3 rows of 5. When you complete a line of 5 things, the first person to do that wins a prize. The second person to get a full line wins a prize. The first person to win a full house gets a prize. The second person to win a full house gets a prize. The link's in the description below. 18 years and above, so only mums and dads for this one, I'm afraid, boys and girls. We've got a nice offer for you. Deposit, if you use the link, deposit £10 and you get another tenner. Basically, you get £20 worth of credit for £10. And you can only buy a maximum of 5 cards for each game. Each card's only £2, so it's pretty cheap as well. Buy 4 cards. Only for this game coming up, by the way. Only for the West Ham games. What good sponsors they are. So only for the Bournemouth game. Buy 4 cards, you get the 5th one free. So there you go. Links in the description below. Match Bingo. Give it a whirl. Sorry. So the best of worst worlds, something like that. The best worst case scenario, if you want. Sullivan doing the negotiations is by no means foolproof, by the way. That can go wrong as well. But it depends what you believe. if you've been following the narrative that actually we had a horrendous bid initially for Jonathan David, it was nowhere close, and now you believe, and it's not just me saying it, other people have been saying it, you now believe the reports that are coming out that are saying that actually our offers now for Jonathan David are on par with the other ones he's received, then obviously we've improved what we're doing. We've done some bad negotiations. Sullivan's done some bad negotiations. William Carvalho is the one that sticks in the mind. That was, made us a bit of a laughing stock. And then it was at Sporting Lisbon, wasn't it? They leaked it everywhere and leaked the email exchange. And it was not good at all. But something's got to happen because somebody's going to need to do this negotiating. And it can't be the third party because they mucked it up. And it certainly can't be Karren Brady because she's too stern. She's too rough in the way that she handles negotiations. She goes in with a sledgehammer. I do wonder if she maybe lives and breathes. On The Apprentice, she's playing a character, right? They all are. I'm quite sure. I don't know if you ever watched it. Well, I can't remember the guy's name now. It was Nick, that was it. Do you remember Nick? Apparently in real life, he was nothing like that. And I think, to a certain extent, Claude, that was another one. Apparently Claude was all right, but, he played a really mean, nasty geezer in the thing. And I think they've all got to take on a certain persona. And there's just no way that Brady has been able to get by in business over the years by saying, I'm not negotiating, I'm not saying what I say goes, there's only one offer. I just don't think you get by. I don't think she'd have done the stadium deal like that. I don't think any of that. I don't think that works. But I do wonder if she's using her sort of apprentice persona to go and negotiate. And she's got no history. She's never negotiated for players. I don't know why she got involved. I don't know why third parties were getting involved. So in many respects, we've gone 2 steps backwards. I don't know if it'll help. I really don't. I think it'll be better than January, but it can't really have been much worse. What I would say is, and I said this very, very early on in January when it looked like Potter was coming in. I said, look, we might have to deal with an uncomfortable truth here, which is if Graham Potter comes in and he does well, really well, then it would only be right that you would have to praise Karren Brady. To say, do you know what? You've been really perceptive there. You were right. Your choice was right. This guy is brilliant. She's really pushed it through, Brady. But there is a reverse side to that, which is if this goes belly up, it's all your fault. And that's the only fair way to do it. At the moment, we don't know. He's not been here 5 minutes. But I also think the same is when it goes with this Salthouse stuff. I don't like the over-reliance on that agent any more than I liked it with Mark Curtis and Sam Allardyce, although I do think that was sinister and I don't think this one is. I just think it's convenient. I just think it's easier. I think it's easier for the club to get somebody from that particular agent, from Salthouse. And we might not like it at all, but it may well be that Aaron Wan-Bissaka wins our Player of the Year. And we've only got him because he's a Salthouse client. So I think when you're struggling, and it's not going to help us get a centre forward, by the way, because Salthouse hasn't really got any on his list. I've had a look. It may be why we get Harwood Bellis. And we're not very good at this stuff. We are not. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish we ran. All the top clubs have all got directors of football. All of them. They all do. They all do. All of them. For us to go a different way is not good. It's quite amateurish, actually. But once I've accepted that is what's going to happen, you've got to hope for the best. So if Will Salthouse brings in Harwood Bellis and he turns out to be a good player, then I'll be pleased for it. What I don't want is us being chucked shit players, basically. I'll take him the quality of Aaron Wan-Bissaka every day of the week. It was pointed out to me today that for every Willie Carvalho, there's a Jared Bowen, which is an example of a successful transfer that's been done. Sorry, I don't even know why that's him now, Harwood Bellis. That was Mark Carlaw, by the way. That was Mark Carlaw. I need to phone him back. He's not telling me anything about what we're talking about. I think it just might be the best of the worst worlds that we got at the moment. Short term, it might be the best thing to get us through the summer. Medium term, I think it's bad. Long term, I think it's terrible. I think it's crazy to think that we know better than all these top clubs. Not good news, but I've got to say there was a part of me that thought, thank goodness we're not going to do what we did in January. But it's left it... There's no grey area now. I say things aren't black and white. This becomes black and white now. Because if we don't get any players, or we get the wrong... Well, no. If we don't get deals over the line, we know why it is. If we get the wrong players, we know why it is. It just was clearly explained. And it's important to know, Kyle Macaulay has never, ever, ever been a director of football. He's never even been head of recruitment. He is a data analyst. This is a step up for him. So I don't know about this Moneyball stuff. I don't know much about it at all. But I would suspect he would have a list of, right, okay, here are, I don't know, 3 central defenders. Here's 3 left wing backs. Here's 3 attacking midfielders. And by their metrics and by their data, these are so on and so forth. I'd imagine that's what he's going to do. I'd imagine Graham Potter's going to give him the eye test and watch some videos or whatever the case may be. And then that's that. And then at that point, they say, right, Mr. Chairman is... I'm assuming, this is complete guesswork. Right, Mr. Chairman, here's 3 names in each position. Go and do what you can. Yeah. I'm very concerned about it. But, by the same token, I talk about uncomfortable truths. If we manage to get Jonathan David, that would really be quite a... I was gonna quite a snare, like an entrapment, like we've trapped him. That would be really something. Our chance have improved, as I mentioned on yesterday's video. I still, look, I'm not confident about any of this stuff. How can you be? It looks like we're in a bit of a mess. And we're going to need to get better. And that's just the buying and selling players. Before we do that, though, we've got to get better on the pitch. And that's with the players that we've got. Topsy-turvy. I tell you what, it is never quiet at West Ham.